welcome to my newest video. Today we're talking all about service dogs. So I've had a lot of people asking me questions about my dog Finnigan, who is also a service dog. So Finnigan is a 1.5-year-old poodle who is a semi-retired service dog for PTSD and anxiety. What this basically means is that he no longer goes out in public with me, and this is because he's recently been diagnosed with some issues. Since I've gotten Finnigan, a lot of people have asked me, how can I get my dog to go everywhere with me? And unfortunately, the answer for most of you is that you can't. What a lot of people don't actually realize is that Finnigan went through several months of training. He went through training for over a year to do his job, and that's a short amount of time. Depending on the tasks required for a client, a service dog can actually train for over 2 years, and this includes the bonding period where the owner and the dog form together to become a service dog team. In our case, Finnigan was needed for simple tasks. The tasks that we trained him for in interrupting anxiety attacks, interrupting self-harm behaviors, which for me are things like pulling out my hair or tugging my hair, sometimes hitting myself, but thankfully I haven't had self-harm issues in the form of cutting or severe issues like that since I was quite young. Finnigan also is trained to do deep pressure therapy, which means he puts his paws on my chest and he gives me kisses on my face if I'm upset, crying, or having an anxiety attack. What this does is calms me down, and by the tactile response of running my fingers through his fur and massaging him, it brings me back to reality. In Ontario, where me and Finnigan live, there are currently no laws stating what levels of certification a dog needs to become a service dog, whether they need to be owner trained or company or privately trained. This doesn't mean that anybody can just throw a vest on their dog and use them as a service dog though. Stores and public places can deny access to any legitimate service dog based on behavior. So behaviors like inappropriate elimination, barking, or attention-seeking behaviors can get a team kicked out of a store. Stores and public places can also ask for proof of not the disability, but proof of the requirement for a service dog. This generally means a doctor's note. This is a letter from a person's primary care physician, psychiatrist, or registered nurse who has followed them for the condition in question for some time. This letter does not need to state what the disability of the person is, only that the person requires a service dog to mitigate a disability. Currently in Canada, there is a law that states service animals. This doesn't necessarily mean dogs. Some people have service cats, I've seen service horses, but generally people use dogs because they're allowed more access than other creatures. The law does state that at least one skill must be performed by the service animal to mitigate the person's disability. Whether this be a dog mitigating balancing tasks for a person that has mobility issues, bringing somebody with PTSD to an exit, or performing functions for blind or hearing impaired people. Many service dog companies and trainers will not train a dog without this doctor's letter. So if you're looking to get a service dog, this is the step one of your process in many differing steps. Service dogs are sometimes required for life-threatening conditions such as epilepsy or diabetes, so make sure to never interrupt or distract a dog that you see in public. When you approach a service dog team that is in public, be cautious about what you say, please. Some people can be very shy or embarrassed about the fact that they have a dog. By saying things like, oh, you're so lucky you get to bring your dog everywhere with you, this can bring attention to the fact that the person has a disability. And myself included, I don't like to think that I have to bring my dog everywhere with me. I would much prefer to have bought Finnigan just to be a pet than to be a medical device, which is what these animals are. They're medical equipment. Yes, they are a living medical piece of equipment, but they are medical devices nonetheless, often required by these people to do functions or tasks in everyday life. Some people think that service dogs and therapy dogs are quite similar, and this depends. In Canada, a therapy dog has no access rights. A service dog cannot be legally denied for valid reasons such as, I just don't like dogs. A service dog must be accompanied by a person for a medical illness, so a taxi driver must accommodate them, rental companies cannot deny them, whereas therapy dogs, at least here in Canada, they are allowed to be denied. This could be different in other countries, like I know sometimes in the US, therapy dogs and service dogs are one and the same. So this will depend on your local laws and will require some research on your part. When considering a service dog, there are tons of things to keep in mind. One of them being that when you go out in public, it calls a lot of attention to you. So if you're a really easily embarrassed person or being looked at in public or brought attention to gives you anxiety, maybe this isn't the option for you. Another thing to think about is the price of these guys. When me and Gary's first started looking into Finnigan, we were looking at getting a company trained dog and we were quoted upwards to $20,000. These guys are very expensive, specifically trained pieces of equipment, and the training, like I said, often takes many years. So they can be quite expensive, even in the low range, costing several thousands of dollars. When looking into a service dog company or a trainer, always be cautious. There are fake service dog trainers and scams out there. Never be afraid to ask for references. This isn't a bad thing. This isn't you being paranoid. You just want to make sure that the trainer fits right with your lifestyle and your beliefs. Of course, it goes without saying, never, ever, ever impersonate a service dog team. If you're looking into getting one, make sure you do the right steps before bringing your dog out in public. Any dog that goes out there, even with the smallest of behavioral problems, can cause severe consequences. In some places, you can be fined. The real consequence is for those of us who do require service dogs. It can create access issues for those that require them. I hope this video has been enlightening to you, whether you're looking into getting a service dog or you just want to know more about the process. If you're looking to get a service dog, I hope this sets you on the right track. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below and I'll answer them willingly. I often answer very openly about my process of getting Finnigan and what I think about it now versus what I thought about it when I started this. So my question for you guys tonight is, if you could pick any dog breed in the world, what would you pick? My ideal breed is a terrier. I love the hardiness and the challenge. But that's everything, guys. Keep on hopping!